Hi, I'm Alex, and today I want to share why I suddenly got serious about flexibility training and how it changed my personal training goals. I was never particularly flexible, but I didn't view myself as particularly stiff neither. The turning point came when my son reached toddler's age and we started to spend a lot of time playing on the floor. No position was comfortable. I had to shift around a lot or even stand up to get some relief. That's when I asked myself if that's the case at 40 years old, how it's going to be when I'm 60. At the point, I was already very active, training several times a week, and I will admit my legs were never the main focus. I was training calisthenics, um, and due to my body proportion, it would have been not in my advantage if I would have got bigger and heavier legs. So, as a physio, I already knew a wide range of stretching exercises and also some stretching techniques like PNF stretching. And so I started stretching regularly at first, more casually in the evenings or during the rest days. And over time, I really started to enjoy it, and my curiosity kept growing. Why not try to become truly flexible and flexible enough to eventually master something like a pistol squat? And so I started to dive deeper into the subject. I bought some books, I read some articles, and even enrolled in an online course by the Ready State created by Calista Red. And there was a lot I liked about it, and some parts I wasn't fully convinced. But overall, it was a good experience, and but you don't really learn how to become very flexible, but rather how to restore a solid foundation of basic mobility. What what really inspired me was Kelly's assessment system, and even before the course, I had read his book "Becoming a Supple Leopard," and many of the concepts from that book are now a regular part of my work as a physio. But I wanted more. I wanted to understand how flexibility is actually developed. For example, how someone would learn to do the splits. Not necessary to do it myself, but just to build a deep understanding of the process. I wanted to know how to train flexibility in a systematic way. And during my continued research, I came across Kit Laughlin, first through his book and later through his starter course. And I have to say, this course is a fantastic starting point for beginners. Kit and Olivia present the content in a very calm and approachable way. and they offer an incredible amount of valuable knowledge for free on their YouTube channel. So if you're curious about stretching and want to get started, I 100% recommend stretchtherapy.net. Through Keith Lothling, I discovered Emmett Lewis and his modern methods of mobility system. I listened to the Bendability podcasts and explored more of Emmett's content. And his approach really resonated with me. I had a strong feeling that this kind of training would suit me well. Right around that time, they released the Pancake and Pike program, and I decided I'm going to start this journey. And even then, the handstand was already somewhere back in the back of my mind as a potential goal. And overall, I found myself at the kind of a crossroads in my training at this point. I was becoming more and more inspired by movement training and not just calisthenics strength training. And I wanted to develop a practice that would bring everything together, not just strength, not just flexibility, and not just static holds, as example. Something more holistic, something that would stay with me for long term. So I then started training Pancake and Pike twice a week. And at the same time, I became more and more fascinated also by the bridge, especially the dynamic movements like the bridge rotations as seen in acrobatics. Those flowing transitions really inspired me. But as it often goes, you can't train everything at once. And at some point, I hit the plateau. I was doing too many exercises, chasing too many goals, absorbing too much information, and in the end, too much training and not enough energy. My training became chaotic. Then the handstand got added into the mix, and I completely lost track. I realized something need to change, and that's when I decided to sign up for online coaching with M3. Now I have been working with the coach for about 8 weeks, and so far it has been an excellent decision. First of all, having a clear structure with specific goals really helped. It gave me something to focus on and shut down all or a lot of the mental noise. Coaching also creates a healthy sense of pressure. It's an investment, so you take it seriously. Plus, you film your session, send them to the coach, and that motivates you to give your best in every session. The feedback is what I value the most. Sometimes it's just that one small cue that changes everything. A little adjustment makes a huge difference. And all in all, a very positive experience so far. Right now, I train flexibility 3 times a week, focusing on pike, pancake, and bridge, and hopefully soon also adding the middle split into the mix. Obviously, we train already elements of the middle splits in the pancake. Yeah, I have already seen some progress in certain areas, but I know it's still the very beginning of the journey. And becoming truly flexible is a long process. It might take probably years. but I'm totally fine with that. So I think the real reason why flexibility training has become such a central part of my physical practice is quite simple. I want to move more freely in more different ways. And as a physiotherapist, movement is something I think about every day. And I work with people from whom movement is no longer a given. So I want to enjoy it as best as I can. So to stay motivated over time, I need something to work towards, something to learn. And for me, learning new movements means developing both strength and flexibility. They are the foundation. So should everyone train flexibility? Probably not. If your goal is to stay generally healthy and you don't have major movement limitation, and normal range of motion is absolutely enough. In fact, if you're short on time and just want to stay fit, strength or cardio training might be the better use of your time. And let's not forget, a well-designed strength training program already includes naturally a lot of flexibility work. So for me, the journey continues. Yeah, if you have any questions about my training or if you're starting your own flexibility journey, feel free to drop a comment. And if you want to follow along as I continue, consider subscribing. I would love to have you along the ride and see you in the next one.